Blog Talk Radio. Hi, everybody. This is Vicki here on Good Friday, April 19th, 2014. We are the Pennsylvania Coalition for all the new members and all the new listeners on the radio show. This is our 19th show. We've been on the air a month, and we have 578 listeners, and that goes to show how huge this issue has become. Our website is picking up. We are continually getting calls on the hotline, and we still need some liaisons in several counties. If you're interested, please let someone know by calling the hotline or emailing us. Our hotline number is 206-339-9456. That is also a fax machine if you want to fax something. And our email is info_PennsylvaniaCoalition@gmx.com. This is our blog talk radio show. It's called Fighting CYS in PA. You are welcome to call in and join the conversation by dialing 646-595-2137. You can also, if you're on a cell phone, you can call in that number. You just don't hit any of the numbers. When prompted to pick 1, 2, or 3, just don't pick one, and you can listen to the show on your cell phone. Again, I am not an attorney. I don't pretend to be an attorney, and most of the guests on the show are not attorneys. We're just sharing our opinions and our experiences as we are going through or have gone through child welfare or the family court system. If you need legal advice, please contact an attorney who can better assist you with legal questions. A couple of the upcoming things we have going on is a court watch on Wednesday, April 23rd at 9 o'clock at the Berks County Service Center building, the new courthouse. It will be in 5S, but they are meeting in the cafeteria on the second floor at 9 o'clock and going up together if you plan to attend that court watch. Wednesday, April 23rd, 9 a.m. Then we have the big rally coming up in Scranton, April 26th, 12 to 3 at the Scranton Courthouse Square, restoring families in honor of Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer and all the work she did bringing to light the corruption in the child welfare system and family courts. There's a chance to speak up, also a chance to listen to some great speakers, Jesse Epps for one, a Civil Rights Hall of Fame inductee, and Andy Ostrowski. He is a candidate for Pennsylvania's 11th Congressional District seat. Abuse is like personally. At the rally, there will be food, there will be bands, live music. It's growing every day. We are expecting a huge turnout. Please attend and make this a showing of the need for change in our child welfare and family court system. Today's show, we will be discussing safety plans, permanency plans, and how to get your Childline reports. I will probably just give that to you at the end of the show. We plan to talk more about fraud and how the fraud and inconsistency or incompetency, when proven against a lawyer, a social worker, or a judge, can cause them to lose their immunity. So I have some call-in guests that are going to be helping out with all of this today. I just wanted to, before I go into the show and these plans, talk about the B Part 1 funding that comes up in a lot of conversations. If you're not aware about what that is, Title 4B Part 1 funds for child welfare services are distributed to all 67 Pennsylvania county children and youth agencies. Here's your clicker. Based on the number of children served in each county. More children, more funds. The county agencies fund child welfare services that are within the state-specified guidelines. The state guidelines direct the county agencies to use these funds for in-home services, community-based and institutional services that are not funded with temporary assistance to needy families, Medicaid, or Title IV funds. So, just a note there. I get some of my callers on the line here. Hello, how are you? You are live.
Hello.
Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
Vicki.
You are
How are
live.
you?
I am just fine. I am ready to talk about these safety plans and what you want people to know about them.
Okay. A safety plan is the document, one of the very first documents that a CYS caseworker will hand to you and ask you to sign. What it is somebody had called and made an allegation against you. CYS responds by coming out to the house, and their job is to protect your children. We all know that the children actually need protecting from them. But what they do is they'll draw up a paper and say, this is how we're going to keep your children safe while we're doing an investigation. And it doesn't matter what the allegations are. So they have a chart, and part of the first section will say the family name, case number, children's names, date of safety plan. And then the next section will say safety plan, identify the safety threat, the person responsible for ensuring the safety action, and blah, blah, blah. All right, then you'll have the other column. All the way to the left, it says safety threat by number. Now, the families don't get to see where these numbers are referenced from. Okay, they'll put there's a block, and they'll put a couple numbers in that block. What's dangerous is what those numbers are referring to. They may say, a number 2, for example, may say, the family has actually harmed the child. But you don't know that because you don't have the guide that goes with these numbers.
Oh.
So the safety threats, they start from 1 and they go up to 9. And it doesn't mean the level of threat. That means the kind of threat. So that's one thing that you really need to pay attention to because, it'll say, maybe number 1 will say, and I don't know this for sure. I don't have the guide in front of me. But number 1 might say, the father has sexually abused the child. Okay? And so these are the numbers that they put in, that they figure out what to put in there. And they tell you, when someone asks, several people have said they asked about those numbers, they said, don't worry about that, that's for inner-house communication.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh. Yeah.
And the next column then says the child, and they name your child up top, and they get a letter next to the name, child A, child B, child C. So they name the children in there. And then the responsible person, which will be most likely one of the parents. And then the safety action. It might say, father will move out of the house while we're doing this. The mother will make sure that father is not around the children. It might say children will live with Aunt Susie while we're doing this. Parents will have no contact with child. Whatever they want to put in there. The next column says time period. Okay, now an investigation, they are not allowed to take more than 60 days to do an investigation. So you think that where it says time period, it would be up until the date that is 60 days away. But they don't do that. They put until further assessed. That could be forever.
Yeah.
Then the last column is how monitored. And they usually put in there announced home visits, unannounced home visits, agency spot checks, which is an unannounced home visit. and clients will self-report any issues. Okay? So this is put in place. They ask the parents to sign it, and they will say to the parents, a lot of times, if you don't sign this, we will have to take your children.
Wow.
Now, many, many parents panic at that point, and they sign it. Okay? What this really is a paper that CYS has drawn up with the blessings of the Department of Public Welfare. Basically, they don't have enough information to figure out if those kids are being abused or neglected. They don't have enough. So now they come up with this safety plan, and they put a lot of where it says safety action, they put a lot of different things in there. Okay? So they want you to violate the safety plan, basically, because you signed this, agreeing to this. Even though those little numbers say, Dad has sexually abused a child, Mom has physically abused a child, whatever those safety numbers are. You're agreeing that once you sign that, you're agreeing that happened.
Wow. So
now they find a way that you violate the safety plan.
Okay. They're asking you to sign something that is done with like their own code, so you don't know what they mean, and you go and sign it. You've just admitted that all that's true, even though you had no idea what they were accusing you of doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, I got you.
These things are extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. We tell our people, do not sign a safety plan. Do not sign a safety plan, because 9 times out of 10, they will find a way that you violated it. For example, I can give you an example. One of our ladies signed a safety plan, because they do this in the very beginning, remember. So by the time these families come to us for some kind of guidance, where to go, they've already signed it. And CYS already found that they violated it. And CYS had already come out and picked up their children. So it's really a tough thing. If people need to be proactive, people need to be educated now before CYS comes knocking on their door. Because the chances, each family, they got probably a 50% chance of CYS knocking on their door at some time.
Wow.
And they need to know these
things. That is really, really scary and very deceptive. It's like almost so more of the fraud and other things we talk about. It's just so misleading. And then they get you in this. This is like before, like this is all supposed to be taken care of within the 60-day period, all these things they set up for you to do. Wow.
Well, let's say, for example, they say, Mom's got to be out of the house for the 60 days because they have determined that Mom is the abuser. So, or is, it's alleged that Mom's the abuser. So they tell Mom to get out of the house for 60 days. Mom can't have any contact with her children for 60 days. No contact. Well, let's say they're in school. The kid gets a fever or whatever. Maybe they just need Mom to come drop something off. They can't get a hold of Dad. He's at work. Maybe he's working far away. They have Mom's contact information. They call Mom. She drops off whatever it is, maybe the kid's medicine, whatever. They just violated the safety plan when Mom showed up at the school.
That's bad. That is bad. I hope people are listening understand this, that you do not sign these things. Don't sign it.
This is it's very serious because you lose once you sign that, you have lost your rights. You have lost rights. You've given them up. But now what I found out recently is that Dauphin County has implemented a new kind of safety plan. And I'm not sure if it's better or worse, but at least it abides by your due process rights.
You want a tuna cheese record? I get it from Wawa.
Yeah, no onions.
What?
Yeah, no onions.
The tuna cheese.
Yep, no onions.
It's okay.
Okay. No onions.
It's one of our listeners. People can call in on their cell phones and listen to the show, and if they want to talk, they can press 1 and then talk. But if you ever want to, a lot of people were saying they couldn't listen to the show on their phone because all they have was their phone, and they can't get the Blog Talk Radio. So I was telling everybody now you can listen, and now they're doing it, but I didn't have them on mute. That's funny.
Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what Dauphin County has done. They have actually changed their safety plan. And actually, Berks County, I hear, has changed their safety plan as of January 2014. But I have not seen one. So until I see one, I have to assume it's the same as what I have here in front of me. But Dauphin County, based on a recent case, Isbell versus Montour County, that decision was made in August of 2013. But here's what Dauphin County had to say to their CYS workers. A court case from the federal court drastically changes the way that the agency can implement safety plans. The federal court has determined that any person who enters into a safety plan with the agency has a right to procedural due process. Procedural due process in this context means that every person has a right to be heard before the court shortly after the implementation of a safety plan. So they are having safety plan hearings in Dauphin County.
Oh. Okay. That means you know what's going on before you sign it.
Well, here's
what that means.
A judge has to review it. They have to actually have something on you because it has to go in front of a judge. Right now, they don't. Somebody called in, your neighbor called in and said, oh, they saw you smacking your kid out front, okay? They're really mad because your dog went over there and crapped in their yard. They decide they're going to get you back, and they're going to call CYS and say, oh, I saw them out there smacking their kid. CYS comes up and hands a safety plan. Nothing happened. You're innocent. The children have to be separated from you for 2 months. No, you have no due process rights. Nothing. Now they're trying to implement that. So they're telling the caseworker, this is the protocol, when entering into a safety plan with a family, there will be an additional acknowledgement form that the individual will sign called the safety plan acknowledgement. They have to now, this is Dauphin County, this is not Berks County.
Uh-huh.
The caseworker will inform the family of their right to be represented by an attorney at a safety plan hearing. Now, here's the tricky part to that.
Okay.
If a party refuses to enter into a safety plan, the caseworker must contact their supervisor and the agency's legal department. And this is where it gets really scary because they're saying it goes on to say, if at least one of the parties is in agreement with the safety plan and the caregiver for the safety plan is also in agreement and can maintain the safety plan in place until the safety plan hearing, a dependency petition need not be filed. However, if they refuse to sign the safety plan, the legal department shall immediately file a pickup order to place the child in agency custody. So that's kind of a double-edged sword there. However, if you're refusing to sign the safety plan and they take it in front of a judge, they better have some darn good stuff in their report in order to even implement a safety plan. See what I'm saying?
Right. I don't understand, like Dauphin County's doing this. How is it that when something like this is changed, and it seems like it's for the better because you get that chance, some kind of due process before they start their crap, why don't all counties, like when this happens in one county, how is it that they're so separated with rules and regulations? You know, like we're having this radio show and you're trying to help people, but then all these counties have their own little glitches, you know, and ways of doing things. So there is no set way. And even though we're Pennsylvania, all these counties seem to be doing stuff that's different.
And that's true. And here lies the problem with a commonwealth versus a state. We are a commonwealth. And in commonwealth, each county can be an individual government. There is an umbrella over Pennsylvania that, you know, there are some things, just like there's an umbrella over the whole, you know, the federal umbrella over the whole entire nation. There is a federal,
right.
An umbrella over the whole state of Pennsylvania. But each county is free to run things the way they deem fit, and that's a commonwealth. Now, it seems to me that this document I just read from, that was a federal case. So you think federal law should cover the whole state. Right. I don't know. It's only Dauphin County that has done this so far.
Well, thank you for sharing that because that's good information. it's so scary going into this. I know how I can imagine how hard it is to make that decision. Like, we say don't let them in, don't sign, but then you hear them threaten and you hear the things that may happen afterwards. But I look at it this way: they can't force you to sign anything until you at least talk to an attorney.
Right.
They can't
and
take your
thing,
kids if you.
Another thing, if you're really feeling pressured to sign it, you could always sign it and write under duress.
Okay.
And that means if you really didn't want to sign it, but you felt you were being forced into it, they were they're threatening. They say, you don't sign this, we're going to take your children. That's under duress.
In actual serious, are they taking children because you don't sign this safety thing? Like, if you don't sign it, they can't take your kids, right?
I have not seen that. I have not seen that at all. What they do is they coerce the families into signing them. Then, after that, within that 60-day time period, they find a way. And if you look at these, I have a collection of them from different people that have, come to our group. They put some ridiculous things in there. Very, very easy. Like I said, where the mom took the medication to the child's school. She wasn't in contact with the child. She didn't see the child. She took the medicine to the school, dropped it off at the office, but she just violated the safety plan. She was in the same school building as her child was. What was she supposed to do? Not get the medicine to the child?
Right. And I can see how many loopholes it to. Yes, actually.
Oh, yeah, and there's another case that we have where the mother had a supervised visit with, the child was staying with the grandmother. The mother had a supervised visit at the CYS office. They left at the same time, or within a few minutes of each other. When Grandma came out with the child, Mom was out there smoking a cigarette or whatever, and the kid said hi. The mom said hi back. The CYS worker was also walking out at the same time. She immediately just took that child into custody.
Wow.
Because Grandma now violated her safety plan because the child said hi to his mother.
Stay on the line with me here. There's another caller here in queue. Hi, how are you today?
Hi, Vicki. How are you? It's Ed.
Hi, Ed. How are you doing? I thought that was you.
Hi, Ed.
There. Well,
I had to call in. I heard the caller with the wonderful, accurate information, let alone with the safety plans I have to touch, that it's so unconstitutional. It really is. And everything the caller said, that they force people to call or they force people to sign these. It's true. It's true. It's lawless. The state has turned to a lawless realm, and it happens everywhere. And it's ridiculous.
Definitely. I'm really thrown back by the coding, that you don't know what those codes mean and you're signing something that's not even spelled out. That's so creepy.
Yeah, and they're supposed to tell you what these codes are, and they don't, which leads into what I've noticed everybody I've been talking to. It's fraud. It's all fraud. It really is.
Well, we've been talking a lot about fraud, and I definitely want to keep talking more about that today because I like what people are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fraud is a very hard thing to prove, but once it's proven, it is so powerful. It will trump immunity. It will. Fraud, inconsistency, and incompetency. You can prove any of those three, you will trump the immunity of the caseworkers, the attorneys, whatever entity you are going up against, the judge. It happens.
Well, Ed, why is it so difficult to prove? What makes it so difficult to prove fraud?
There's 7 types of fraud: constructive fraud, intringent, extringent, so on and so forth. Fraud is hard because people don't want to believe it, first of all. They don't want to believe this fraud's happening. And you have to be so precise. You have to pretty much spell it out. And when you're dealing with the trial courts and stuff, they don't these judges don't want to believe that this fraud's going on, so of course they're going to say, no, this isn't happening. That's why you have to spell everything out. Wonderful case that I'm dealing with is a judge, there was fraud committed in the court, and the individual submitted papers to this judge letting him know this fraud was committed in this court. And, pretty much he's behind the 8 ball now. This judge, he has to sign this petition to vacate this order. If he doesn't, he's looking at, it turns into constructive fraud, malicious prosecution, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to really get into your U.S. laws, your state laws, and it's a lot of reading. Once you understand it and you find constructive fraud, like this was done, the safety plan was signed, we'll say, to an individual that wasn't explained what the safety plan was about. They took the children. Then the child was placed in custody of state. They got their funding for their money for the kids. They hold on to the kids even though there's false allegations, and this is all constructive fraud. And then it comes right back around to the circle, and they do it again to the next family and the next family.
And you know what I've seen a lot? There's unfounded, they do their investigation, and the report comes back unfounded, yet they still keep the children.
Mm-hmm. It'll come up, they do it where it comes up unfounded, and then what they like to do is put families under general protective services. That's the other thing they like to play, which is, it's bull. General protective services. You take a child because you're unable to assure safety of a child. You have to have a reason. To take a child, there has to be clear and convincing evidence that the child is without proper care, education, and custody. They neglect to show that in numerous cases.
Yeah, and the fraud of covering up evidence that they have, or say you get that unfounded, it's unfounded, the abuse or whatever, and they have evidence that they're not giving to the court or the judge or the lawyer or whoever, that they know that you're innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's really confusing for a lot of people to go through the court system, but if you have some of this fraud and you have really good proof, is it better to try with the FBI or your police department?
What I like to refer to is you tell it to the agency or you tell it to the trial court. You work your way up. You tell it to OCYS, Department of Public Welfare. Give them a chance to remedy it, because if they fail to remedy it. If they fail to remedy it, they're held liable as also. It goes back to a court doctrine called the master of the ship or the captain of the ship doctrine. The theory the captain must go down with the ship. So we're going to let the captain know, and when the captain doesn't do anything, he's held liable as well.
Okay, I think I did touch on that before, because if a director of your agency tells the social worker to do something that is unconstitutional or against the law, that director is held just as responsible, even though she didn't carry out that order to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like if she says, cover up this sexual abuse stuff, just make that go away, and the social worker does it, even though the director didn't actually do it, she's just as responsible, and they should both lose immunity because of the cover-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's lies after lies. And what gets me, and, I'm pretty sure some of these caseworkers are probably listening to us today, these caseworkers need to know that there's a whistleblower act out there. If you know your supervisor's doing something wrong, they need to know what the whistleblower act and report them. They bribe these caseworkers too. You get a lot of these younger caseworkers that don't have kids that read out of a book on how to raise a child or whatever, and then they go and they're paying for their college tuition, this, that, and the other thing. These caseworkers need to know that this act's out there, and you need to report your supervisor if they're doing something unethical or illegal. Yeah. Just going to put that out there for all our listeners today.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I firmly believe in whistleblowing. Of course, that's why we're having this radio show, because we're trying to get out the stuff that whistleblowers aren't doing. I wish more of them would get on board. I wish that we could get some on this show that have had the internal, orders and things that they were instructed to do that they knew were wrong or quit because they refused to do them.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely hard. I've been trying to find some individuals that work for the system and if they step forward, but it's very hard. I'm sure they're threatening them too.
Yeah. Well, that's the scary part of this whole thing, because you just never know when you're going to get that knock on your door. We all are doing the right thing. We're standing up for what is right. And yet, of course, we're stepping on some toes that aren't too happy about it. And they just want you to not be spreading the word and telling people how to go through the system, because they're not going to get as many kids if we keep telling them how to avoid them taking their children.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about complaining, the other caller said, you start at the bottom with the caseworker, the caseworker supervisor, the department supervisor, and you just keep going up the chain of command. In each county in Pennsylvania, the county commissioners are actually in charge of running the CYS agency.
Yeah, this is true.
And so go to the county commissioners. In Berks County, or county commissioners have a televised live program once a week where you can go and you can air your differences to the commissioners, and it will be on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
Well,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
If there were more people that had, that is a good place to bug them. I know I've bugged the commissioners in Schuylkill County repeatedly. I send them emails. I bug them all the time, but they just haven't got off their duff and done anything about it. They can be nice as pie on the phone, but they just haven't done anything. But I followed the chain of command, so I let them know. Just as I went to the district attorney up there now and the FBI, because nobody's doing anything, so I figured, okay, I got all the way to the commissioners and the then you have your Department of Welfare and your regional office, and then you go above the regional office, and you just keep climbing.
And notice
until
they always say, did you complain to your local CYS? Did you complain to the caseworker? And now you can say, yes, I did, and nothing happened, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and I would suggest if you're doing any complaints, do it in a letter where you're getting a certified return card, or you're going to do it by email, so you're keeping a paper trail.
Yeah,
because you get a lot of times you'll get a lot that they just say, well, I've never spoke to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Definitely. And just because one person doesn't have luck, like I'm saying I haven't, just because I didn't doesn't mean that you won't, because I've known people that have gotten really far with Jackie Madden or Chris Farrell at the DEP, and they didn't give me any satisfaction. But I've known people that have had great success, especially with Farrell, on getting a child return. So you always have to go through the chain of command and at least try and get, say what you have to say. Report it. Plain and simply, report it.
Well, I found with the Department of Public Welfare, you actually have to do their work for them. You find the regulation, because they are only involved with making sure that the county agencies follow regulations. So you have got to know the regulation and know the regulation that they violated, and then you contact the regional DPW or the state DPW, whatever level you're at this point, and say, look, they violated this regulation, and this is what they did that I'm saying they violated it.
Now, Donna, when you say the regulations, doesn't every county agency have a book of their regulations that if you ask for it, they must provide it?
Yes. And they will give you a hard time about that, so you have to file a right to know report.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Another thing I noticed in some cases, when you confront, OCYS or DPW, they say they can't really get involved because the court's already involved, which is, that's bull also. These caseworkers are working through the state, through the civil service, so they're still held liable for what their people are doing. you just got to, like Donna said, you got to keep spelling it all out to them. You got to show them what the violation is, and you got to keep, you got to keep going and keep bugging these people. It goes back to my theory: the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You got to keep squeaking.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely believe in that. You have to don't ever give up. You can't give up. You have to keep going. There's just educate yourself. Education. I learn so much every day from all of you in the coalition. It's get on the computer, online, reading. I know that Donna reads a lot of Supreme Court decisions, and I don't go that way, but she does. So she has all that information, and you're doing a lot with your case. So educate yourself, because there's so much you can do with that education against these people.
Yeah. And educate others too.
Be proactive. Be one step ahead of them. If they send you to their doctor, you get a bad psych eval, get to your own doctor. Get a psych eval.
Donna,
right.
Speaking of the psych evals, do you want to share information that you learned about the evaluations?
Yes. Just recently, actually, it was decided that they will not be doing, in custody cases, they will not be doing child custody evaluations anymore unless there is a documented history of mental health issues. Documented. It can't be someone said. It's got to be documented, of mental health issues or an alcohol or drug problem. Now, and that also goes for dependency. Now, here's the sticky part. The judge will not be ordering them, or they should not be ordering them anymore. However, CYS can still request them.
They'll recommend them.
They cannot ask the judge to order them.
And that's huge.
In a way, CYS these agencies get around this also, is they might recommend it in the court, and some of these judges will turn around and order that you need to follow the recommendations by CYS.
Yeah. So it's I think we said before, it's smoke and mirrors. It's set to be one way, and then they're just going to find a way around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but and I've already read it in some Superior Court opinions, where Superior Court also feels the same way. So let a judge. I'm telling you, I think people need to appeal. If these judges are going to order psych evals when there is no history of any mental health issues or alcohol and drug abuse, and they're going to order it, they're going to put it in their court order that person has to have a psych eval, you can appeal that. You'd win that portion of your appeal, because it's not allowed. The Superior Court feels the same way.
That's great. That's good. They'd be nice to see them eliminated, because they are a financial burden on a lot of people, and I am appalled by what I hear some of these doctors charge for these evaluations. It's crazy to expect families to be able to afford that.
Yeah, but think of it this way. They are charging the county, and they are charging your insurance company.
It's a double dipping.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then, like in Christie's situation, where he will only accept cash, and the father's submitting it. The father is submitting for the evaluation and therapy time, but Christie has to pay cash. Yet he's submitting it on his insurance, even though now it's not for the child anymore. It's for Christie and the ex. He's still submitting them like it's for the child's therapy. It's very creepy. I don't know. There's so much fraud and illegal things going on, and people getting money that they're really definitely no better than Miss Ross up there in Lackawanna County.
And here's something else I just thought about. Every child that is involved with the CYS system, every one of those children have a right to have an attorney.
I agree. Yes,
and I'm not talking about the CYS guardian ad litem, those three little ladies that sit up there in Berks County and pretend they're attorneys for the children. No, those are guardian ad litems. That's different than an attorney. They all have the right to have their own attorney. And if you are declared indigent, which most of these families that are involved with CYS are, the county will pick up the tab with their attorney.
Yep.
You know, and Schuylkill County would not let me get an attorney for my foster daughter. They told me I could not do that. They told, actually, when she went to get her own attorney, she said she didn't want the guardian ad litem anymore. They told her she could not fire her appointed guardian ad litem. Could not fire him.
And that's true. That's true. The kids have to have a guardian ad litem.
Yeah.
But they can also have an attorney.
Hire, like their own attorney, which they wouldn't let me do.
Well, that's when you want to file a petition. You want to file a petition for legal representation for the child.
Yes, I wish I would have known all you people then. Trust me. This case would, my case would definitely would have changed very quickly. But
and that attorney,
now that
attorney, when it comes to court, that attorney has to state on the record the wishes of the child.
That's true.
So the whole creepiness then of this Conville character making himself her attorney the day of court without a motion or a petition or anything to do that, just puts himself, I'm now her attorney, and brings in his buddy guardian ad litem. I mean, there was like a powerhouse wall there. We didn't have a chance of winning because you have CYS, and it's ridiculous.
It's fraud on the court. That's all it is, constructive fraud.
Unbelievable. So now the safety plan is different from the permanency plan that they set up. And I'm guessing that you guys know something about these too. Permanency plans for youth, and like I have here, there's 7. First is return to the parents. Second could be adoption. Third, permanent legal guard.
They always put adoption as the second. What's the word I'm looking for? A permanent plan is placed once the child, after the hearing and the child's placed wherever they place the child, foster home or anything. And they always have their first goal is to reunification, and they always put second goal as adoption. It's just something they do. And the permanency plan is telling you what is pretty much the agency puts down what they want to see you do. They want to see you go through this counseling, or they want to see you whatever it is. And that's another thing they're going to ask you to sign. And my opinion, what I do is I'm not signing it. I'm not signing it. And if they force you, and they try to force you, say you need to sign this to get your kids back, yeah, that's bull also. You know, if you feel the need that they're threatening you, do what Donna said, and sign under duress. Because when you sign something under duress, it is not held in the court of law.
Now I know that they have like 15 months or something, and they can start taking your parental rights away.
15, yeah. The child has to be in placement 15 of 22 or 24 months before they can move.
Now, that's the regulation. However,
yes.
I've seen them go for a termination when the child's only been in care for 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
That's true. I've seen that also.
That's terrible.
And that's illegal.
But now, what I see with Schuylkill County, what they're doing is they start to squash parental rights. That these parents don't think that they even have rights anymore because they've been told you signed away your parental rights. But they still have the parents to continue to pay support, so the double dipping continues, because once they take your parental rights, they're not allowed to collect support from you anymore. But they're doing it because they never finalize that parental right thing. They just keep it looming out there so that they can get the money from all angles.
Yeah.
Well, regulations state they can't terminate rights until they found an adoptive resource. But they do that all the time. And so now what you have is a whole bunch of legal orphans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that there should be a provision in our law in Pennsylvania, which I've been searching and searching. I have not found it. It might be there. I just haven't found it. Where if your rights were terminated, and I have a case like this, the mother's rights were terminated a few years ago, but the child suffers from cerebral palsy, and they have put him in an institution now, and he's there with a stomach tube because he would not eat for anybody else but his mother. So now, not seeing his mother, he's not eating. And so they have a stomach tube in him. They have him on like 5 or 6 different medications to keep him sleepy. And so he's laying there basically rotting away. And I'm thinking, It's been about 2 years. They have not been able to adopt this child. His picture's been on the Swan catalog, I call it, internet catalog, for 2 years. And they have not found adoptive home. Is there something out there where this mother can now file to reinstate her rights?
Got to prove the fraud. She'd have to prove the fraud, and then fraud will pretty much reset everything. That's the key thing. Once fraud is proven, everything, all evidence, sealed and unsealed documents become available.
Wow. That's very, very interesting. And think about how many cases have the fraud.
And in the United States, when an officer of the court is found to have fraudulently presented facts to the court so that the court is impaired or impartial to the performance of its legal task or the act, it's known as fraud of the court, obviously, that it is a crime deemed so severe and fundamentally opposed to the operation of justice that, and I'm reading this, that is not subject to any statute of limitation. To conclude, officers of the court include lawyers, judges, referees, and those appointed guardian ad litem, parenting time expeditors, mediators, evaluators, administrators, and special appointees, that any others who influence the part of the judicial mechanism. Fraud of this is defined as the 7th District Court, or 7th Circuit of Appeals, Fraud of the court has been defined to embrace the species of fraud which does or attempts to defile the court itself, or is a fraud perpetrated by an officer of the court so that the judicial machinery cannot perform in the usual manner its impartial task to adjudging cases that are presented to the adjudication.
Wow. That is such
good
stuff.
This?
I mean, it's so good.
An attorney does not have to, if they're acting as a witness, they do not have to be sworn in because they are considered an officer of the court.
Wow.
This is true.
Well, I really am so glad I learned about this fraud stuff because I really look at every single case that comes across my desk, and that's what I'm looking for, and to see how easier hard it would be to. I have so many out of Schuylkill, I guess, because people know that that's where I'm really dealing with it. They kind of block, and my blog concentrates in that, as yours, most of yours concentrate in Berks, but I cannot believe what is going on in that county and how these players are getting away with it because the people that they're dealing with are just so not uneducated but undereducated. And I was too, to a point, but I was on the phone and I was doing stuff where these people really, to me, seem helpless. They don't know anything to do. They need so much help up there. But
is there a support group up there?
Well, we have Casey's up there, but she's got her hands full. She's got 2 little kids, and she hasn't been in the best of health. She's had a lot of deaths. This last month has been horrible for her, but they don't have a support group. I'm sure once she's feeling better, she'll start that. Everybody kind of just leans towards the coalition, us, or I take their phone calls personally here because it's, this stuff. And it does wreck you. I hear it every day. I dealt with a case yesterday for a very good part of my day, and it just wears you out. I quit being my attorney's secretary through the divorce, and she made me her secretary. She was my lawyer. I had to quit because day after day, hearing how sad these people were being abused by the family courts, I couldn't handle it. But then I had 2 little kids to raise. My boys have grown up. Now I'm ready to fight this fight. And I don't have, I have my foster kids, but, something needs to be done. When I read Dave Rathman's book, As Good as a Dog, and my problems were in 1997, and I'm still seeing these same lawyers and same therapists and same players doing the same things to family to this day. It's got to stop. Got to stop.
It does.
So I guess what we need to do, what I'm understanding, is come up with some really good legislative changes, or what we would want to change in these agencies, like what we're asking the legislators to go through with, because all these people are running on the ticket of straightening out child welfare, but what are they going to do? Like, what are their plans to do that? Because we all know how a lot of these plans didn't work.
Yeah, and it's not just changing things. It's also enforcing things that are already there. I believe that the CYS agencies all need some kind of somebody to be accountable to.
Yeah, like an impact unit.
Right.
Mhm. Because they have no accountability right now. They can ask the federal government, for whatever amount of money they want, and it's handed to them on a silver platter. Mm-hmm. They misuse and abuse their funds. These children are nothing to them except for a product that they can use to just get more money, and it's a bottomless pit of money that they can ask for. And Berks County right now, it's really close to $50 million a year for their budget.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's not including the money that I'm sure these counties get from for child support from these parents, which falls back to double dipping.
Well, I could not believe that when my foster daughter's father told me how much he was paying in support, and I'm thinking, how can that be when the state's getting all this money to have her in care? How can you possibly be paying support? Something's wrong with this system. It's ridiculous. Well, both parents are paying support, but it's just, I did not know that. I knew that my foster daughter that I lost to Schuylkill County, I knew that her dad was paying support. But then I read up that he shouldn't be paying support when they told him his rights were terminated. I don't know. These people just tell you one thing, and people don't know if they're coming or going anymore. What they're supposed to be doing, what they have to do. But
here you have
I think two
parents paying child support and the county collecting Title IV funding, and they also get money from the county taxes. So,
that's true.
Yeah, where's all this money going?
How they're supposed to do it is, if anybody's familiar with any child support hearings, is, they got one parent with how much they make. They got the other parent on how much they make. They're supposed to take the total, combine it, throw it in their equation, and that's how much they get for how much child support is being paid. When it comes to these agencies, they're not claiming the money that they're getting as income for this child, which is whatever the feds are giving them or whoever is giving them. And they claim it as a zero income, and then that's what makes the other parents pay the 100% of the child support. It's lawless.
Yeah, crazy.
The laws are there, but they, these judges want to follow, whatever's convenient for them at the time.
Oh, and let's not forget about a third source of income, or fourth, whatever you want to call it. A lot of these children, they end up being diagnosed with mental health issues. And so now you get Social Security.
Mm-hmm. That's true also. It is.
It's just crazy. I know. I hear a lot of parents tell me that the county is collecting their children's Social Security, and that I don't know. That is just so wrong. So
plus,
wrong.
Parents are paying child support. Plus, they're getting Title IV funding. I mean, really?
I've heard of parents address this in child support hearings, and the conference officer blatantly say, "We know this is going on, and we don't care, but you have to pay this money. You're obligated to pay this." Wow.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Anybody that is I don't know if anybody out there is getting into the child support thing, but there are calculators on All Law and the Human Services.state.pa.us that have the child support calculators that you can figure out what you're supposed to be paying if anybody's interested in looking that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I remember, I'll post it up on the public site also, so people can refer to that.
Okay. Yeah, there's a really good calculator at the alllaw.com, but then of course Pennsylvania has theirs up on their Human Services site also. If you want to,
yeah, as
give
well
you
in
all the little boxes to fill in.
Yeah, I believe in the PA code. I believe the equations there also. You know.
Yeah.
I
think it was Christy.
They also, one more thing on the child support. The one thing that I noticed these agencies like to do is they like to overcharge you and then try to get you in the rears, and try to enforce it where they try to imprison some of these parents too, also, which is quite ridiculous.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I think someone just joined our coalition. His name is Ben. $93,000 in arrears. He's livid what they've done to him, and he's definitely on board. As a matter of fact, he's going to be at Scranton. I'm pretty sure he's signed up to be at Scranton. But that is crazy. $93,000. That's insane. How does that even happen? But speaking of, are you speaking at the Scranton rally?
I was asked to.
I know. I know you'd be a good speaker.
I'm very hesitant. I've never done anything in that magnitude. So I just emailed Kim. She's the co-president. Hopefully, maybe she will take this burden off my hand. But and also, Tara has been asking me. I guess I'm chicken when it comes to that. But
I would be. I know. You would be great, though. You're really. I think that you would be really good. They're doing a bang-em job up there. Tara and Lou and Trisha, all the people that are helping out with this rally coming up on April 26th, doing an excellent job. Lou has opened a lot of doors for groups like us and people fighting these agencies. So I can't wait to see how it unfolds on the 26th. But I think that you would be a great speaker. You're very well versed in all of this.
Everyone should know we're going to have our table set up with our pamphlets and some forms. People don't want to join the coalition. We'll have the forms right there you can fill out. Yeah, and I'll definitely be up there talking. Vicki, I believe you're going to be there, right? And Kim, the co-president.
Right now,
no. Mm-hmm.
I want to be, but I'm trying to get some help, reinforcements here that I can be there because missing that day it just gripes me because it's something that I've dreamed about happening for a long time, and I really want to meet all of you guys and these, Andy and Lou, everybody that's so involved in this, and so it's like their heartstrings are making all this happen, all their hard work, getting this out there and having the nerve to get it out, because for years people just were so afraid to talk about what we're talking about for fear of retaliation, and we all know that they retaliate against you, and you just wait for the gag order to come or what their next move is to shut you up.
Exactly.
Well,
they can't retaliate against everybody. They can't do it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Our numbers are growing.
Yes, and they continue to grow, and they need to continue to grow. The more people, the more powerful.
That is so true. I am amazed at the people coming out from under the woodwork. I really am. And
I think Tioga County was recently just joined the coalition. I'm speaking to an individual up there that is interested in being a liaison up there, and 2 other individuals. So we need to welcome Tioga County into the coalition.
Yes, definitely. I know they're doing a lot of work up there. They have a good group, and they stick together, so that's great. We all get together with our own groups into one big group. We really need attorneys. I hope we can soon get attorneys to join us in the group that can be guests on the show. I'm looking forward to Sean McMillan being on, and having him share a lot of what he's done and what we could be doing here in Pennsylvania.
Sean's awesome.
Yeah, I did speak to Sean. He will be coming on. He's in federal deposition right now. Actually, should be done by now, but we're going to touch base with him and set up a day and hopefully get some people to call in. Pick his mind.
I know. We definitely need attorneys to refer people to as they join the coalition and need help. I really wish I had a list of referrals to give to people. You know, I've been asking for attorneys to get involved in this, you know, and I realize it's a iffy part of practicing law for them going up against these agencies, but we really do need the tough guys to start coming forward and helping out, because
it's true.
I think there's a lot of good lawsuits out there, and there's a lot of people that need help, you know, and no, not everybody's really rich, but there's people that need help, and they could really be making a name for themselves by starting to win these cases that are here to be won. The evidence is there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the retaliation goes against those attorneys also, too. That's why it's such a hard thing to secure an attorney, because they get retaliated on, too.
And it's not just CYS retaliating. It's other judges in the courthouse and other attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a scary position. Really, really scary. I know that it is a scary place to be, because you have to work with them every day, and it's your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then there is standing up for what is right, and there needs to be more people on this bandwagon that are standing up for what's right. And I'm hoping this radio show gets more of it out there, and our coalition at the rally, you guys having that table, I hope that it is a huge, huge turnout. The media there, so I at least get to see it on television.
And Lou does his show every Saturday morning from 7 to 8, Sanity Check.
Oh,
that's another good one.
I love that show. I love that show. Yes, Sanity Check, Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's such a good show.
It is.
Just everything you want to hear, good people that are that know what's right and what's wrong, and that are really trying to make a difference and exposing it and changing it.
Yeah, definitely something good to check out every Saturday morning. Depending on what area, I mean, worst case scenario is people can call in and you can listen to the show via their phone if you're out of the area.
Is that Blog Talk Radio, or is that a regular radio show?
That's
how would one get to that?
94.3.
94.3. 94.3.
94.3?
Yep. 94.3. Yep, 94.3 FM. Oh, that is a loud plane right there. That is a loud plane.
Yes, it is.
94.3. I will put the link up, Donna. I'll put it up, the link to the, because you can listen to it any time. Sometimes I used to get up early in the morning because I was supposed to be on the show several times. Now I try and always make sure I listen to every show, even though I can't get up that early some mornings or get to my computer. I definitely try and listen to it, because the stuff that's coming out on that show is what I've been hoping to hear for years. And, you know, Lou has managed to find these people and do this with his paper. You know, my paper was so little, and it is little, but I tried to get it out there. And, you know, I still am. Still doing it. I asked my mom this morning, I said, whatever happened? You and Dad are such peaceful people. My sister's a peaceful. Where did I get this? That I always have to, I'm advocating for someone, something. Where did I get that? It's in me. So.
Well, there's so much injustice and so many where children are getting hurt, you know, and families being destroyed. I mean, what's going to happen in the future when we have all these kids that have been ripped from their families and given to other families to raise, you know, and most of the time separated? What if we have a brother and sister growing up that end up falling in love when they're adults?
Wow.
Yeah, really.
Looking at it.
And they don't know this.
Yeah. Fighting. That's why I tell all members that, I get a few members that contact me and say, oh, Ed, I just want to give up. Well, I tell them, don't give up. File the paperwork, keep the fight going. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but, if you don't get your kids back, the kids will come back when they're 18 and have all this documentation to say, hey, this is what happened. And you're also making it a formal court record when you're filing this stuff.
Yes, I wish I would have filed a lot more in my case, but I don't know. I don't think I can go back and do it. I just have to hope for when she turns 18, she comes home. That's what I'm hoping for.
How old is she now?
16. She just turned 16 February 6th. Little bit of time. She always said, when I'm 18, I'll be on your doorstep, Mom. Don't ever forget it. I will be back. I will be on your doorstep. And Dad is walking me down the aisle when I get married. So we'll see. Right now, I've kind of had to step back, and I'm doing everything I can to help her biological father and Casey get custody of her, because they should have never lost custody of her. It's through all this crap that Schuylkill County pulled that they did, those unfounded reports they held on to, and just made his life hell, had him move out of his house and leave his kids and his wife and all, just the crap. So I'm doing everything I can to help them get her back, because they will always let me see her. I mean, when she was here, I wanted them to have a relationship with her again, because they were separated for like 10 years thanks to Schuylkill County. I mean, they just pulled so much crap. But anyway, I hope that she does come home when she's 18.
Oh, she will.
So anybody got anything else on these safety plans, permanency plans, child support?
Like Donna said, just be very cautious. I wouldn't sign anything. Me personally, I wouldn't sign anything. You need to understand everything you're signing. You do.
Yeah.
Once you understand it, then you can, determine if it's something worth signing and if it's something not worth signing. But it's a constitutional issue. When you sign these safety plans, you're agreeing to their terms. Same thing with the evaluations we spoke about before. Why would somebody have to do a domestic violence evaluation if they were never convicted of any domestic violence? You're admitting.
Right.
You're admitting.
Yeah.
And it goes back to their evaluators. Mm-hmm. Their evaluators will put in their report what they ask them to put in.
Exactly. It causes that prima facie evaluation that is in favor of the agency. Don't sign it. If you feel like if they're hounding you to sign it under duress. Right? Under duress first and sign above it. And like I said, then you're not held liable because you're so stressed out. Do that.
Yeah. And I remember being in a hearing, because our group does go to a lot of hearings. I told you that before. We were in a hearing one time where one of CYS's favorite doctors was up on the stand testifying. And the parent's attorney, it was a private attorney, it wasn't, a court-appointed attorney, asked this doctor how much of his business comes from CYS. He said about 96%. And then she asked him, and out of that 96%, how many times have you recommended that the child be returned to the parents? His answer was 0.
Wow. That's bad. That's just bad. I don't know how people sleep at night. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. But like we've also discussed, most of these people don't have families, don't have, these social workers never had children, and I'm really
and they don't know that they can file stuff in the court too. They don't know that they're not educated enough. These people need to be educated that they can file this stuff, file a motion to correct the record. Make it known in court, because when the time comes around and fraud's proven, it's going to be a bad thing on that agency and that courtroom that they're not adhering to these laws.
And Ed, let's not forget, it doesn't cost a penny to file something.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't. It's free.
Mhm.
Mhm. Like I said, our numbers
Really?
are
I
right
always
there.
thought that there were like high filing fees to do stuff, so there's not?
When it comes
no
to a
filing?
petition or motion, no. It's free when it comes to a petition or a motion. It's absolutely free.
Okay.
Initial filing fees, they want to charge you, but there's a wonderful thing called an IFP, a motion for informal pompous, that if you are, struggling at times, you file it out with the IFP, and they'll even waive that fee, depending on the judge. But
But if they're already involved in CYS, the initial paperwork has already been filed. So if they file motions or petitions, there is no extra charge. However, I would strongly suggest that they do their research before writing or filing anything, and even maybe go over it with an attorney.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, find the laws, find the case laws. The more case laws, the more laws that you put in those motions, the more powerful you are.
And I got to tell you that in Berks County, the Berks County Courthouse on the 10th floor has an excellent library, law library, and the librarians are sweet, sweet people that work up there.
Oh.
And we have our number too.
Yeah, we have our hotline too. Call us. These people can call us, and if they have any questions, we can suggest to them what we do. But everybody needs to remember, again, we're not attorneys, so please don't construe anything that we say as legal advice.
Yep,
we are just opinions and experience.
24 hours a day you can call.
Yep, 24-hour hotline, and that's 206-339-9456. If you think that the coalition can help you out, join.
Yep, I look forward to everybody coming up to the rally on the 26th, and we'll meet, talk, chat. Looking for new members. People need to stop being scared and stepping forward. And let's do it. Let's advocate, educate, and do what we have to do to make a change for this state.
Yes.
I can't stress more about people.
Pennsylvania is like a cesspool anymore.
It is. You're right.
For illegal stuff, bad behavior, and just, I don't know, mafia type behavior that's going on everywhere.
Look at
everywhere.
all the times in the last 2 years. All the headlines Pennsylvania has made, and it hasn't been good stuff.
Like I said before, a lot of doors opened with the Sandusky case, the Archdiocese, and the Castro Kids scandal. A lot of doors have opened, and now we need to take advantage of these open doors. And people need to stop being scared. They need to start coming forward. It's not just them anymore; it's us, and we all need to stand up.
Yes, we do. Protect them kiddos of ours.
Exactly. But on that note, Vicki, I have to run because I have another member that's got in touch with me. I need to call her. Like I said, I look forward to meeting people on the rally on the 26th. Grab a pamphlet, sign some papers. We can chit-chat. It's going to be a good time. Tara, Lou, thank you. I know if you guys are listening. And I'll see everybody there.
Thank you so much, Ed, for being on today.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
I'm going to skedaddle too, Vicki.
Okay, Donna, thank you so much for all the information that you are full of all the time. I will be talking to you. Thanks for being on the show and sharing all this stuff with us.
Sure, anytime.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All righty. So we are, again, the Pennsylvania Coalition for Family and Parent Rights. And that hotline number, again, is 206-339-9456. It's also our fax if you need to fax us anything. Our email is info_PAcoalition@gmx.com. This, of course, is our radio show. I am proud to say we're getting close to 600 listeners. I hope today puts us over that edge. I heard we have a group in Virginia and actually even someone from England that has tuned into our show. So that's pretty good stuff. It's been a month since I started the radio show, and I am really happy with the results. I hope that we're getting people help out there and that we keep growing this coalition, because we really need to change what's going on here in our state. Other states are fighting their battles. We have a big one to fight here in PA. There has been just an allowance of letting corruption run rampant here. And with that, there's so many people involved and so many big circles, from your politicians into your judges, into your lawyers, into your CYS agencies. All this is one big thing that has to be taken down. Having boards to answer to, having total transparency of what's going on. There has to be more hearings. There has to be due process when you're accused of doing something that you did not do. And you just don't get that here in Pennsylvania a lot of times. Before you know it, your kids are swept away, and then they want to start the process. And the process should be started before they step in and take your children on a phone call or an accusation, whatever they come up with. But I hope that everybody gets out to the rally on April 26th and show support as a group of what we're trying to do. Stop by our table. We will have a table there. The coalition will be out. Many of the officers will be there and our members. They will have the papers that you need to sign up to get coalition. And we have pamphlets and business cards. I believe we're also going to be selling some candy bars for like a fundraiser to help pay for having this rally happen. So if you see anybody selling stuff that to support the rally and what Lou and Tara and everybody has put together up there, please support them. Buy that candy bar, whatever they're selling, to help defer some of the costs that it must be costing to put on this thing, because it's a huge event. A couple other things I want to talk to before I end the show today, and that is the address and the name of where to get your Childline report. Cues reported to Childline, and you want to see that report, you want to expunge that report, you need to get a hold of Terry Warner. It's TerryWarner. She's Quality Assurance for the Commonwealth of PA. And it's the Department of Welfare, Hillcrest Building, that's Hillcrest, one word, building, second floor, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, 17110. Some of the members in the coalition have done this. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get that report back. Then you can review it and you know what you need to do to get it changed. If you need any help with that, please call the coalition hotline, and someone that has done it will walk you through what you need to do if you find this information. Recording, the secret recordings. If you're going to be recording anyone in these instances, make sure that they know, both ends are aware of what you're recording. Say, I'm going to be recording this, so that they know. In Pennsylvania, you have to have the consent of all parties. There are penalties if you don't. You can have a civil suit filed against you, and if you visually have a cell phone and you're recording, make sure that they know that you're recording, because there's specific laws against hidden cameras, and there's additional penalties for disclosing information that you got that you might have recorded secretly. Most of the things that I see on YouTube, the internet, people obviously knew that they were being recorded. And of course our government can do all this secret surveillance on us, but we're not supposed to be doing it on them. I know that we've discussed you recording things that happen when they come to, you're having your visits or your meetings or whatever. Just make sure that everyone knows that you're doing that. Best thing to do is when you do have a visit or a meeting with anyone from an agency, that you write down as soon as you get home, put it all in writing and keep a copy for yourself and send it to your caseworker and say this is what happened at today's meeting, so that you have a paper trail of everything that you do. Record everything. Keep your timelines up. Day one that they start harassing you or that things start happening, start your timeline and keep track of every phone call, everything, every visit that happens in your case. They're really good to refer back to, and they could be very useful in court someday at your hearing. So I hope that everybody learned a lot today. I think it was an excellent show once again. Lots of information that you really need when dealing with these agencies. Again, we're the Pennsylvania Coalition for Family and Parents' Rights. Hotline 24/7 is 206-339-9456. I like to see everybody get to the rally April 26th. It's from 12 to 3 at Scranton Courthouse Square. Lots to do there, lots to learn. Get out there and support what these groups are doing to end the abuse in our court system. Everybody have a great, good Friday. I will be back on the air Monday at 1 o'clock. Have a great day.